to the top, got a filled up engine.
Good evening and welcome to Champions League Live as the knockouts get underway tonight. The knockout playoff first legs as 16 teams vie for 8 places in the round of 16. 8 teams already qualified for that place, and we will pick out another 8 from the 16 we will watch over the next week and a half. Already this evening, PSG have beaten Stade Brest in that all-French knockout playoff by 3-0. Earlier this evening. We will have 3 games for you to keep an eye on this evening at 8 o'clock. Juventus will host PSV. Our main game at the Etihad as Manchester City take on Real Madrid. And Sporting will host Borussia Dortmund. Tomorrow night, Atalanta will head to Club Brugge. AS Monaco will host Benfica. Celtic will take on Bayern Munich at Celtic Park. And AC Milan will travel to Feyenoord. As I said, 8 teams from this 16 collection will face an 8 teams that already qualified for the round of 16 in a few weeks' time. But it is a battle in the playoffs, and 2 sides we watch tonight who would be vying for a semi-final of this type of ilk between each other. But it is the earliest of knockout stages that they meet, and one of them will have to go home. Will it be the reigning champions, or will it be the 2023 winners of this competition? One will not be going through to the round of 16, and we'll see tonight who might be one step closer to that last 16 place. Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola, well known to each other, and they face once again. These sides have faced in the last 4 Champions League seasons against each other. It has been regarded as the battle of the top 2 in European football. But Manchester City have fallen from their most recent heights this season. Real Madrid, injuries and problems of their own in Europe. 2 sides not at the peak of their powers. Let's have a look at the 2 teams then that start this evening's game. Edison starts in goal for Manchester City. A back 4 of Manuel Akanji, Brahim Diaz, Nathan Ake and Joško Gvardiol. We believe John Stones is playing in a centre midfield role alongside Kevin De Bruyne, the captain, and Bernardo Silva. The front 3 for Manchester City, Savinho off the left, Jack Grealish off the right and Erling Haaland leading the line. On the bench for City, Ortega, Lewis Kusanov, McAtee, Gundogan Nunez, Gonzalo, O'Reilly, Kovacic, Foden, Marmoush and Doku. For Real Madrid, it is a makeshift back 4 tonight, but we start with the goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, one of the most experienced and top goalkeepers in European football. A back 4 of Fede Valverde, the captain, at right back. Aurelien Tchouameni is alongside Asensio in a centre-back role, with Ferland Mendy at left back. In midfield, Dani Ceballos and Eduardo Camavinga are the defensive midfield 2, with Jude Bellingham further forward. Rodrigo off the right, Vinicius Jr. off the left, and Kylian Mbappe leading the line. On the bench for Madrid, Mestre, Lunin, Aguado, Vallejo, Ramon, Garcia, Modric, Goulet, Andres, Diaz, Garcia and Endrick. As I said, 2 top sides in European football, the last 2 winners of this competition, but one of them will not make it to the last 16. Who will it be? Kick-off at the Etihad between City and Madrid is next. Good evening, welcome to Champions League Live as the knockouts start right here and the big games continue to flow right until that final at the end of May in Munich. The road to Munich starts here, and one of these 2 teams want to renew their chances of winning this competition. But who will be going out this time next week? We will see who can take a first step to the round of 16 tonight. Of course, 2-legged tie. The first leg tonight, the second leg at the Bernabeu next week. Of course, that game next Wednesday night. Of course, over the next 2 weeks. And then next Friday, the 21st, will be the draw for the round of 16 and the rest of the competition. So we will know the path to the final of the remaining teams this time next week. There's Edison there having to slide out with an early ball. Well, comfortably dealt with by the City goalkeeper. course, chopping and changing in goal has Pep Guardiola in the last few weeks, not being consistent with his players. But of course, we know these two teams. We know them inside out at this point. I think they know each other inside out at this point. They know what to expect, and we know what to expect from these two teams. As Grealish tries to break forward, he is going to get the foul as he goes down under a challenge there from Rodrigo. So an early free kick here for Jack Grealish. Yeah, you just see it again. Grealish stepping in field between Tchouaméni and Valverde, the two defenders, and Rodrigo just tracking back. Just catches him. Will be a free kick. An early chance for Manchester City here. Down this left-hand side. Daniel says, mad for it, City. Good to have you with us, Daniel, this evening for this one. An early chance for Manchester City. Wide on this left-hand side. And, of course, we know not to take anything for granted in the fixture between these two with so many late goals. But an early goal would certainly be a great springboard for the home side. Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne over it. Referee's whistle goes. De Bruyne, right-footed, tries to sneak it across the near post, but it's headed over and behind by Fede Valverde for a corner. Yeah, he tried to sneak it around the near post to Erling Haaland, did De Bruyne, and it's well spotted by Valverde. Took no risks in heading it behind for the City corner. De Bruyne will deliver again. Headed on, up in the air, it's still flicked away eventually by Tchouaméni. And Bellingham on the charge to break away here. Jude Bellingham, lovely switch ball. Finds it out to the left side. Mbappe into Vinicius Jr. Madrid on the move. Awful ball by Vinicius Jr. there. Easily recovered by Bernardo Silva. A poor attempt at a switch ball. I won't expect these two sides to sit back and defend for 90 minutes. We're expecting quality, as there has been some absolute classics between these two over the last number of years in this competition. Some late goals, some late comebacks, lots of late drama. Just the epitome of the Champions League. Here's Diaz to Ake. Of course, interestingly, with Manchester City and the way they've set up this evening, and the fact that they have gone for a back four, a normal, shall you say, back four. Stones with a nice through ball. De Bruyne gets on the end of it. Can't find the cross. It's good play by John Stones. Obviously, that's something City have missed, is that kind of conductor in midfield. Of course, with Rodri injured, Gonzalez with a bit of pain. He's on the bench tonight, the new signing. John Stones has played in that 6 role before, and has played such a pivotal role for Manchester City, even to when they won the Champions League back in 2023. He was a pivotal player in that midfield and played into that little role and played little balls in behind. It was beautiful football that he played from that 6 role, threading balls through the lines and really, as I said, conducting play in the way Manchester City need. Courtois had to go long with that one. Was good press by Erling Haaland. That forces the ball out of play for a Manchester City throw-in. There's a lot of talk about big injuries. Well, there's no bigger than the 5 defenders that Real Madrid don't have tonight. Dani Carvajal, Eder Militao, Antonio Rudiger, David Alaba and Lucas Vazquez. An absolute a defence for any side in Europe that would be proud of that that 5. But they're without them tonight and had to do a little bit of rejigging, especially down the right hand side of their defence. So Tchouaméni and Valverde, not defenders outright, of course can play there, but it's not their main positions. Both players would rather be in midfield, but needs must for Real Madrid at the moment. The City have had to deal with that recently as well. A lot of defensive injuries for big teams this year. That's a nice nick away in the middle there by Ceballos. Gets it back to Asensio. Now across to Tchouaméni. Man City, of course, dominating the early possession. But for Real Madrid tonight, of course, they've got the second leg at home, so they will know that they come away with a positive result tonight, keep themselves in the tie. They will always believe that they can get something in their home ground, and that can be their task. But for Manchester City, you know, they can really take promise in the fact that they do have the first leg at home tonight and really take it to Real Madrid and have them to have a tough task for this time in 8 days at the Bernabeu. Mbappe well closed out there by Diaz, but it's recovered in the midfield by Madrid. Ceballos across to Camavinga. Nicely dealt with on the turn. Madrid in their orange kit this evening. But I wasn't expecting. I mean, I probably should have been expecting the fact that they weren't going to play in white, but orange is certainly they're not going to be getting lost on the pitch. Certainly see them anyway. Here's Camavinga. Back to Courtois. Diaz trying to hold off Mbappe there and does so very successfully. Although the ball went out for a Real Madrid throw. Mbappe complaining about his right boot at the moment. Massive battle there between Diaz and Mbappe. Ruben Diaz did well. The lace is absolutely destroyed on the boots of Kylian Mbappe. Certainly on that right boot, so not particularly happy, although he's just going to make do with half a lace. Well, while Kylian Mbappe gets that organised and sorted, Madrid will have to play on here for the moment. Well, I think the referee's caused a bit of confusion here. I don't know what is going on. There is. So Mbappe does have spare boots, exactly the same as the ones he's got on, but he will quickly change those as Madrid take that throw in. There's a bit of confusion there as to whether they were going to play on or not, or whether they're going to wait for Mbappe, but it seemed a bit unfair to have to wait for him. That's a lovely ball in behind. Vinicius Jr.'s made the run through here. The flag stays down. Vinny Jr. takes around the keeper, goes down. He's got a penalty, but the flag's going to go up. The flag's going to go up. You could probably see it all day long. Vinny Jr. asked the question, and the official on that right-hand side had the answer. You were offside. Although, just leaning offside, Vinicius Jr. there. It's not as quite clear cut as initially thought, but it does look just offside against Vinicius Jr. there. See it again. Really good touch. The keeper was coming. You could see it clear as day that it was a penalty. There's a VAR. One of the Real Madrid fans hoping for a VAR check. They were checking for it. VAR, but quickly cleared. And he was offside. You could see it. He was just leaning offside, Vinny Jr. But there's a threat. Seen that before. Manchester City runners in behind the defence, and Manchester City has caused them problems this season. Here's Ake. Chips it long. Couldn't find Haaland. Clearance by Tchouaméni there. As Haaland tried to flick it on. Goes out wide for a throw-in. He's chasing down Courtois. Asensio down the left for Mendy. Nice work in between the lines. Bellingham skips away from one challenge. Plays it on to Vinny Jr. Skips past another. Vinicius Jr. Oh, lovely touch. Finds Kylian Mbappe. Good save by Edison. Really good combination football by Real Madrid. It's Bellingham. It all started with Bellingham. A little chop onto his right foot. Breaks him away from one challenge. Then Vinicius Jr. breaks another. Here they come again. Mbappe. Rodrigo. Into the box. Surrounded by sky blue shirts. Camavinga. Mbappe with a little flex. Rodrigo. Crowding out that area. City, but that's a through ball. Mendy cuts it back. Vinny Jr. It's a scramble. Oh, cleared by Ake. And it goes behind for a corner. That was surely a proper chance for Real Madrid here. In and around the edge of the box. And this through ball is fabulous. Absolutely superb. Through the lines to Mendy. He cuts it back to Vinicius Jr. Then gives it back to Mendy. They're basically trying to tap it into the net. Pass it into the net. And they don't take the strike early enough. And Ake does really well in recovering. There's a corner whipped in. Away by Haaland. Taken on the half volley, but jumped up in the air. Does Edison, who gathers from that Ceballos shot. That was calamitous from Manchester City's point of view, and the fact that they were literally being dribbled around in their own box, and there was about 7 or 8 Manchester City players back. I mean, it's not like it was kind of lots of space. There was a very crowded 18-yard box. So here's Savinho. End-to-end stuff at the moment. Savinho's cross. Flicked behind. Kept alive by Valverde, who gets it into the path of Mbappe. Lots of space in the middle here for Rodrigo to chase. Here is Kylian Mbappe. Takes it away from his man. Finding Vinicius Jr. Couldn't keep the ball. And that's really nice play by Bernardo Silva and Grealish there. Just to break apart that Real Madrid possession. Oh, that's a break of the ball. Here's Vinicius Jr. Charged down well. Very good defending. Again, it looked dangerous, but Nathan Ake was alert. Again, it's gone a bit chaotic the last few minutes. See it again. De Bruyne gives it away in midfield. Surrounded by 3 in orange. I think the press comes on from, I think it might be Bellingham that plays the press. He wins the break of the ball through to Vinicius Jr. and Akanji does just enough to put him off and allow Nathan Ake to get the touch in to make the block. But goodness me, it's just got a bit unsettled in the last few minutes, especially from Manchester City's point of view. Real Madrid have had a number of half chances and one really clear-cut opportunity to try and take the lead. And so far, it still remains 0-0. Okay. Bernardo Silva. Down the left side to Grealish. Jack Grealish. Tiptoeing his way into the box around Valverde. Not giving the timer space, but he will get the corner off Fede Valverde. That's good desire there by Jack Grealish. And he wins the corner out of it for Manchester City. Their second of the game for the home side. Has been 1 or 2 main threats for Real Madrid, but Man City really haven't massively tested the Madrid defence yet. Here's De Bruyne with the delivery. Deep one, and the falling ball sent over the bar by Savinho. Big chance. Good delivery by Kevin De Bruyne. Put it right on Thibaut Courtois. He didn't get a touch to it. It was actually, if I had to make a claim, I think it might have been Valverde that got the header. And it bounced down for Savinho and flew over the bar off his right boot. It was a good threatening delivery by Kevin De Bruyne. I think that's where City can find the joy tonight, in set pieces. But also I think in terms of possession, you know, we talk about the possession and control of games for Manchester City. 56% of the ball so far. I think they'll want a little bit more possession just to settle this game a little bit, because it's been a lot of turnovers, especially in midfield, and that's where Madrid are getting their joy, in transition, on the break. And that's where their kind of attackers come to life, really, when they're in transition. That's where Manchester City need to be careful. But also with the game being a bit more open, that also massively helps Real Madrid, as that's given away cheaply by Mendy. And Savinho skips past his man, breaks into the box, couldn't find the cross As again, Asensio tries to mop it up. De Bruyne is having a bit of fun there as Asensio does make a good block in, as there's a City player and Savinho on the floor, but the referee says play on. Mbappe does just enough to evade the opposing number 9, Erling Haaland. Here's Rodrigo. He tries to thread it through for Mbappe, but too far away from the Frenchman. And Edison with a long kick sends it out for a Real Madrid throw. No goals so far in our knockout playoff games. Juventus 0, PSV 0, Sporting 0, Dortmund 0, and of course 0-0 here at the Etihad. We'll update you and keep you right up to date with the scores elsewhere as and when they happen. Of course, there's an FA Cup game as well going on that will pique your interest. Exeter against Nottingham Forest. It's currently 1-1 there, and we'll keep you to date with a couple of championship games as well. So lots to keep you alert with this evening. Here is John Stones in the midfield. Back to Ake. Given out wide to Grealish, but couldn't find a forward pass. Right back into his own half and across to Brahim Diaz. Now Ake. Bernardo Silva. This is where Manchester City just settle the game a little bit more. Not rushing things, taking their time, being patient on the ball, getting a few passes, trying to get Madrid out of shape. Just give themselves a little bit of confidence on the ball as well. No matter how good you may be on the ball, you do still need touches and passes and just to settle yourself in game. De Bruyne. That's a nice ball to Vardiol, who turns into space. And a through ball into Erling Haaland's path. Haaland lays it off well to Grealish. Into the box. Flicked over the top. Vardiol with the chest. Haaland! 1-0 Manchester City. Fabulous combinations. Patience pays off for the citizens. And Manchester City take the lead. Erling Haaland. Real Madrid, after having a few good chances themselves to take the lead, find themselves behind. Really good control of the ball for Manchester City. That's where they're at their finest. That's when they're at their best. And Erling Haaland with a really nice finish to give the home side the lead after just 18 minutes. Again, I said that's where City look settled when they have the possession of the ball. And it's a fabulous through ball. Really quality through ball by Vardiol. And he ends up getting involved in the attack himself. He plays it off to Haaland. Haaland lays it off wide to Grealish. Grealish then sees the run of Vardiol. Chips it over the top, over the head of Asensio. Chested down by Vardiol. And then just adjusting in the air. Takes it on the volley of Haaland into the far corner. Really nice finish. And Manchester City are ahead. Really nice football. And a lovely, lovely goal. I mean, it's fabulous play. I mean, the run by Vardiol makes this goal. We just see a replay of a possible VAR check, but I don't think there's any issues from what I'm hearing. So this should stand, although you never know when it comes to VAR. We are checking for this opening goal then, which has us delayed at the moment. Whether they're checking for a possible handball offside, I'm not too sure. And remember, of course, the semi-automated offside is in force here in the Champions League, so if it's an offside it should be almost automatic. But could there be a handball? Could there be some problem in the build-up? That's what we wait and see. The crowd wait in anticipation. Both City fans and Madrid fans wait for the decision. Our referee this evening, Clément Turpin, waits for the decision to be relayed into his earpiece and then he can relay it to the crowd and the players. Well, we're still waiting on the decision. Just got a shot of the referee in the middle, Erling Haaland as well, waiting and with bated breath. Even the Madrid players are a bit kind of like, what's going on? I think they're relaying the message that it is incredibly tight, but if it's semi-automated, surely it should be already computerized and decided through kind of the computer programs and the software that's already available. Well, this is definitely one of the longest VAR checks we've had all season in the Champions League. And the referee's just explaining to the players what is going on, and the decision is a goal. As he was telling Kevin De Bruyne, the City captain, what was going on, the decision came through and the goal will stand. It took a long time to get there, but surely the correct decision has been achieved. And Manchester City take the lead. It would have been a really harsh goal to disallow because it was a fabulous move. Pure poetry in motion for Manchester City. And they have the first blood in this knockout playoff. They've met 12 previous times, these two teams, in the Champions League. City have won 4 times, Madrid have won 3 times, and there have been 5 draws over the years. And all 12 of those meetings have come in the Champions League in European football. The last of which came in last season's quarterfinals. As here's a through ball to De Bruyne. Great challenge. Very clean by Asensio. It had to be. It will be a corner to Manchester City. See it again. Had to be clean, had to be precise, and it was. A really good challenge by Raul Asensio. Now Manchester City have another corner. Just seems like City are starting to take a little bit more grip of this game now. That's where Real Madrid need to be wary. When Man City are in this stage, make sure they don't get a second. That's corners easily collected by Courtois, who tries to send Mbappe on the break. Gets through that little gap. Vinicius Jr. breaks away with the ball down the left-hand side. Savinho, great cover. And celebrates that little challenge for a Real Madrid throw. Well, might get caught up there because he could have closed that ball down. There's Savinho getting a bit too excited. It's the ball to Camavinga. As I was saying, the last time these two met in this competition was in last season's quarterfinals. An absolute corker of a quarterfinal setup last year. 3-3 in the first leg, 1-1 here in the second leg. And of course Real Madrid won 4-3 on penalties that night to progress to the semis, and then obviously going on to win the competition at Wembley last year, beating Borussia Dortmund. Camavinga, nice play to Bellingham. Vinicius Jr. dribbling into the box. Vinicius Jr. Oh, off the crossbar. I think I might have took a deflection. I think Edison might have got a hand to this. He didn't. Oh, absolutely fabulous from Vinicius Jr. They do get a corner out of it. Was some sort of deflection. Rodrigo with a cross. Headed away by Akanji. Brought back to Rodrigo, who dribbles past De Bruyne. Cuts it onto his left. And the shot blocked well in the box. It's Camavinga on the press. City suffocated at the moment from that corner. Tchouaméni. Lovely link up down the right hand side there with Valverde. And Tchouaméni will win a throw-in for Real Madrid down the right side. Showing a bit of fight, the European champions. Rodrigo trying to flick it round the corner for Camavinga. won't get the throw in out of that situation. Didn't take a deflection, so just a City throw. Well, Manchester City have lost 10 out of a possible 32 meetings with Spanish sides. They have won, conversely, 13 of those 32 meetings. Their home record against Spanish sides is even better than that. They've only lost twice in 15 meetings at home against Spanish sides. And of course, that defeat on penalties doesn't add to that list that they had against Madrid here last season in the second leg. Of course, that will go down as an official draw, which I think is a bit silly, but there we are. So only 2 defeats at home against Spanish teams in their 15 previous meetings in this competition, Manchester City, with Spanish clubs. Grealish. Brahim Diaz has to control that ball under pressure. Back to Ake. Madrid on the press again. Very narrow press from Madrid there with their forwards. As Brahim Diaz looks for the long angled switch ball. But that one will go too far for Grealish to chase, and Valverde will just see it out for a Real Madrid goal kick. Well, City have had won 6 successive home games against Spanish clubs before last season's draw with Madrid, ending in a penalty defeat. They are unbeaten in 9 in that run. As we go through here, into Vinicius Jr. Well, blocked off. Mendy on the overlap though, keeps it alive. Jr. again. Squares it back across, or Ceballos will hit one. That one was just rising over the bar from Dani Ceballos. Well, 9 unbeaten, unbeaten in 9 at home in the Champions League. City 1-7, drawn 2, sent a 2-1 loss against Barcelona in the 2014-15 Champions League round of 16 first leg. Both of their defeats at home in the Champions League against Spanish teams have come against Barcelona. An issue here as Jack Grealish is on his haunches, which has him getting treatment at the moment. So we do have a stop and play. It means we can catch up from around the ground. So it looks like Jack Grealish will be coming off here because Phil Foden's getting ready. So it's still 0-0 in those other 2 games, Juventus, PSV and Sporting Dortmund. And still quite even in those games. Dortmund with 3 shots to Sporting's 5. Juventus with 2 shots to PSV's 6. So some very close ties. Exeter and Nottingham Forest are still 1-1 in that FA Cup tie at the moment. Of course, extra time and penalties if is necessary in the FA Cup. Coventry 0, QPR 0 in the Championship. Derby 0, Oxford 0. Portsmouth leading Cardiff by 2-1. 3-0 away are Leeds away at Watford. And Norwich losing 1-0 at home to Preston. Those games edging closer to half time. Right, so that changed then, by the way. Jack Grealish has come off. And Phil Foden is coming on for Manchester City. So a first half change, which isn't welcomed, of course, by Pep Guardiola. Jack Grealish was making his 6th appearance and his 4th start in the Champions League this season. Has scored just 1 goal in the competition. And that came in that 4-2 defeat to PSG on match day 7 of the league phase. So Savinho has now come out to the left side. So he actually started on the right, Grealish on the left. And Savinho's now gone to the left-hand side of the attack. And Phil Foden out on the right-hand side at the moment. Well, Phil Foden, by the way, has started 6 of the 8 Champions League games that Man City have played this season, of course. Has scored 3 goals in the competition this campaign. and this is his 8th appearance out of 9 in the competition this campaign so far. His last goal in the competition, if I can find it for you, actually came in the 4-1 defeat to Sporting back in November. He had scored previously in a 5-0 win against Sparta Prague in that, and also scored and assisted with Slovan Bratislava as well in that 4-0 victory for City. Has Phil Foden. Looking to make an impact from the bench in the first half here. Already Man City 1 up at this moment. Real Madrid have given a little fight back since then, but nothing of real major concern. Vinicius Jr. did hit the crossbar at one point. Nothing of too major worry for Manchester City. It's a lovely chip ball into Haaland. Controls it all the way back to John Stones. Tries to squeeze it through. There to Bernardo Silva. Picked up upon by Savinho. He squares it back across the Stones and out wide to De Bruyne. De Bruyne with a chip. Headed away by Mendy. Out wide now to Foden on this right side. And he will retrieve it right back to Brahim Diaz. Stones again. Back to Ake. Now out wide to Diaz. He's taking a little run down the right side. Flicks it over the top, looking for his captain, De Bruyne. And Asensio there doing enough. And actually winning a free kick out of that situation between De Bruyne and Asensio. Will be a free kick to Real Madrid. We'll see the offside call. Oh, incredibly tight. Literal a centimetre, if that, of a difference between on and offside there. Haaland was just onside. Of course, he was behind the ball as it was played across, chested by Joško Vardiol. That's what the long check was all about. So we will have a bit of added time at the end of the first half due to that 3.5-4 minute check for that goal. But it's crucial to get the decisions right at this stage of the competition. It's win and you're in, really. And lose and you're practically out. Although if Real Madrid lose tonight, it's not the end of the world. We do have that second leg. But it gets to the crunch time of this competition where mistakes mean even more than they did in the early rounds. That's where sides have to be wary and have to be careful. That's poor from Camavinga into Bellingham. Nipped upon by Vardiol. And now De Bruyne trying to roll it through and behind for Savinho. Well spotted by Valverde. It's Courtois. Thumps that one long out to the left side. Again, not kept by Madrid. Given away. Down the right side is Foden. Foden rolls it through. De Bruyne with a cutback. Well cleared away by Asensio for a Man City throw. Again, it just seems like Manchester City getting that little bit of extra energy in the game. It's a little bit sharper than Real Madrid at times, and certainly on a high at the moment in this game, Man City. Stones. Okay. Just over 10 minutes to go with the first half. Manchester City 1, Real Madrid 0 here at the Etihad. Okay, with a nice switch ball out to Foden. Deft first touch. Phil Foden on the inside. Oh, forces a good save off Courtois as the rebound falls to Savinho on the left flank. Fabulous first touch by Foden. It just allows him to glide on the inside onto his left foot and have that wand of a left foot unleash a good strike. Another switch ball and De Bruyne's ball across straight at Courtois. See this Phil Foden attempt again. Really good effort. Forces a good punch away by Courtois. That's with a threat that he can pose. And has. He's been in decent form recently, has Phil Foden. Oof. Given away there again by Madrid. This time, Bernardo Silva. Haaland from the now angle. Someone sliding in there, put it behind for a corner. I think it was Asensio. It was. And he's trying to get his side pumped up because they've looked a bit lackluster in possession at times, Real Madrid. A bit too sloppy. And they're just giving Manchester City chances at the moment. Haaland's shot took a deflection off Valverde, and then Asensio sliding in, put it behind for the corner. A goal in Turin to tell you about between Juventus and PSV. We'll get there in a moment after this Manchester City corner. De Bruyne to deliver, right-footed. Flicked on! Oh! Over the crossbar by Akanji. Good opportunity. Just over the bar. Yeah, it was good work. Mistimed jump by Bellingham. He just jumped a bit too late, and it was perfectly timed by Akanji. Vardiol was behind him, and Akanji's header just hit the top of the crossbar. Big moments. Very close calls in those moments. As I was saying, goal in Turin to tell you about. Juventus against PSV Eindhoven, and it is Juventus who took the lead in that one. Weston McKennie with the opening goal has the Italian side leading the Dutch side in this moment in time. It is Weston McKennie's third Champions League goal of the season, and he has Juventus leading by 1-0. So 1-0 to the home side there, 1-0 to the home side here, as Camavinga getting caught in possession there. Gives away a cheap throw. Seems like Real Madrid need a little bit more calmness in their game, a bit more composure. As I said, they look a bit sloppy, they look a bit nervous at the moment, and when Man City sense nerves, no matter who they're playing, when they sense nerves, they can be ruthless. They have been ruthless in the past in these moments, and that's what Real Madrid really need to be careful of. And not giving Manchester City cheap and easy chances, because they can certainly take this tie away from you in this game. Bernardo Silva. Akanji through the lines, a bit short to find Haaland, who was retreating, and Camavinga intercepts as that long ball over the top to try and find Rodrigo. Well, we'll go way beyond the Real Madrid right winger, and goal kick. Haaland just gets absolutely taken out by the referee there as he was trying to drop a bit deeper to get onto that ball. Edison through the lines to Stones. The ball comes out wide now to Foden. In his own half here. Stones. Back again across. Now to Edison. Ake again. Well, don't forget, we do have action for you tomorrow night. It's not Champions League action, it's Premier League action, as the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park takes place tomorrow evening. We will be live from Goodison for that one, as Liverpool, the league leaders, looking to make it 9 points, the gap between them and Arsenal. Tomorrow it's 7:30 kickoff between Everton and Liverpool at Goodison Park tomorrow, and we'll have all the updates from tomorrow's Champions League games as well. De Bruyne out wide to Foden, cuts onto the inside, finds Stones. Akanji out wide to De Bruyne again. 5 minutes of the first half to go. Manchester City 1, Real Madrid 0 in this Champions League knockout playoff first leg. Ake. Akanji. De Bruyne. Looking for the switch ball. Headed down by Valverde. And back to Thibaut Courtois. That's what Real Madrid need. Kind of hold City, hold their shape, and try and get City to play some defence building passes or crossfield ball or something of that ilk, where they can just settle and recompose themselves and win the ball in this area. Bellingham nicks it away. Rodrigo now through the middle. Rodrigo rolls it across. Takes it a bit away from Vinicius Jr. He's at the byline. Vinicius Jr. trying to find his way past Akanji. Skips onto the byline and it comes off Akanji last. That will be a corner. It was good work by Vinicius Jr. but really good work by Akanji to stay with him. Vinicius Jr. an absolute machine in terms of his little flicks and tricks and touches in and around the box, and he can completely leave you for dead if you don't keep yourself alert against him. And Akanji did well there as Madrid have the corner. Right footed delivery away by Haaland again at the front post. Bellingham will deliver again. Rodrigo and Valverde will just recycle it back to Camavinga. Spins out wide to the right now for Mbappe. And field to Camavinga. They'll look to build again down this left-hand side now. Rodrigo. Here's the chance. Valverde bricking the shots. Oh, just over the bar. Felt there was a touch on the way through, Fede Valverde. But the officials didn't see so. Ooh, I think it might have took a finger off the fingertips of Edison there. Maybe just a slight nick from Edison, but even from the replay you can barely see any sort of change of direction. Barely a flick, so maybe fingertips, but barely visible from that position. But again, a couple of those shots from distance from Real Madrid this evening. Oh, as Man City get caught from playing out there. Not often you see that. It's Bellingham. Well charged down. Couldn't get the through ball. It's Vardiol with a heavy touch. Rodrigo bundled over but no foul as Savinho comes away with the ball now. Charging away from his challenge on Bellingham. And Jude Bellingham's going to get penalised here as Savinho was fouled. And Man City get the free kick. Yeah, Bellingham just got his hands all around Savinho there. It would be a bit harsh to give him a yellow. He didn't give him a yellow, the referee, but it would have been harsh if he had have. It would have been a harsh one to call. Well, certainly Real Madrid haven't folded in a sense, and not that I was expecting them to, but Manchester City have caused them a few problems, and it's not been plain sailing for them so far, but have kept it close, kept the game in at arm's length really, and kept it quite tight at the moment. We'll see what they can offer in the second half with just less than a minute of the first half to go here at the Etihad. And I think Real Madrid need a little bit more control. I think that's where their problem is at the moment. Yes, when the game's a bit more open and a bit more chaotic, that's where they find a bit of joy, but in that moment, City were just a little bit sloppy. I think City have composed themselves, taken that lead since that point. And I think Real Madrid just need to find that composure themselves, because they have struggled. They've been blistering little passes, just a couple of missed controls, so that's nice play though, between Mbappe and Rodrigo. That's what's kind of let them down in the first half, that lack of consistency in the final third as Vinicius Jr.'s ball across the 6-yard box. There was no one there. So we'll have 4 added minutes. A fabulous ball by Vinicius Jr., but no one was there in the middle for Madrid to try and tap it in. That's nice work. Ceballos, Bellingham into Mbappe. Awful first touch that time. Trying to take it onto his left and took it right onto the foot of Bernardo Silva, who could clear away. Camavinga does well and under pressure. As he was about to blow the whistle there, the referee, but he plays the advantage as Real Madrid have the possession. Mendy. Asensio through the lines. Bellingham on the turn. Does lay it off now to Camavinga. Back out wide to Mendy. Looks up, looking for players in luminous orange. There's Bellingham. Was just clipped at there by Bernardo Silva, and he does take the free kick quickly. Mendy into Bellingham again. Rolls past to Haaland. Out to the right side now for Valverde. He'll try and feed it across to Bellingham, but really good defending there by Joško Vardiol. His clearance, though, well intercepted. Real Madrid getting a bit of confidence here late in the first half. Much better control of the ball. Maybe Manchester City just looking to protect their lead in this first half and not force the issue too early on. Just be a bit more composed and manage the game a little bit here. City. Nice switch ball out to the left there from Ceballos. Now Vinicius Jr. breaking into the box. Cuts it back. Camavinga lays it off for Mbappe in the deflection. Off Ake. Puts it behind for the corner. That would have been a bit awkward for the City keeper. It's good work by Camavinga. He just kind of deftly touches it for Mbappe to unleash the strike, and he tries to go for the curling one, and it comes right off Ake's left boot and deflects wide, and into some scrambling as he didn't know where it was going to go. And now Manuel Akanji has gone down again. It looked like he pulled up with a groin issue. He's back to his feet, but he pulled up with a little groin problem earlier when he was battling Vinicius Jr. and he got it blocked for a corner. I wonder if that's a recurrence. We'll see. Corner Madrid, right hand side. 90 seconds of the first half to go. Rodrigo, right footed delivery. Flicked away by Ake. Bouncing down. Ceballos delivers it into Mbappe, who flicks it across. Well blocked. Brought down by De Bruyne. His ball is a bit loose. Madrid can just recycle it back with Tchouaméni, who flicks it in the air. De Bruyne goes down. No foul, says the referee. And as we play on here, Real Madrid switches out to the right hand side. Rodrigo. Could they snatch an equaliser before half time? Rodrigo rolls it through. Mbappe over the bar. Big chance, lots of space, lots of time, but he absolutely skies it, the Frenchman. Big chance, proper opportunity. You just expect him to whip it to that far corner between the two City defenders. Doesn't get anywhere near enough whip on it, far too much lift, and that is pretty much a massive missed opportunity for Kylian Mbappe. Could that be one that Real Madrid might rue? Pardon the French. Long ball forward by City. A couple of seconds of the first half to go, but Real Madrid certainly ending the half a lot stronger. They might have one more chance here. Camavinga on the break. Looking for an option. Camavinga plays it to Vinicius Jr. and as he stops the ball, they don't get a time to get it forward again, Real Madrid, because there's the half-time whistle. Vinicius Jr. may protest at the fact that the whistle was blown. He was the one that stopped the action and stopped the attack in its tracks, and that is what stops the first half. A first half here where Manchester City, for the vast majority of it, were in control, were calm, were composed in possession, and a fabulous little team goal between Manchester City players in the build-up. Haaland with a finish, but that was just one part of the story to that City goal. Madrid have a few chances and ended the half the stronger, but at half-time at the Etihad in this knockout playoff first leg, it is Manchester City 1, Real Madrid 0. Analysis on the way next. Do stay with us.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Half-time in the Champions League at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 1, Real Madrid 0 at this moment in time. Juventus leading PSV by a goal to 0 at this minute in time, and Sporting 0, Borussia Dortmund 0 is the scores. Right. Well, so far, as I said, Juventus and Manchester City leading, and Manchester City probably deserving that lead in the first half, but Real Madrid certainly ended the half the better of the two teams with a few strong chances. Mbappe, could he rue that missed chance that skied over the bar for a goal kick? Was that the big chance for Real Madrid in that first half? They had a number of chances, actually, before and after the opening goal for Manchester City, but not able to take them Carlo Ancelotti's side. And to be fair, with a makeshift back four, they've actually done pretty well defensively in the game, by that one moment that Manchester City absolutely carved them open. I said that's what City were lacking in that first half. We'll talk and analyse that first half very shortly, but let's just recap what we've seen so far this evening in the Champions League. PSG all but booking their place in the round of 16 after a 3-0 thrashing of Brest this evening. Vitinha with a penalty in the first half. Ousmane Dembele made it 2 before he then added a third for PSG in the second half. There was also a goal cancelled for Desiree Doué from VAR in the game, so it could have been even more for PSG. But Stade Brest, who came into this as a pot 4 team, as a side that really had no chance of going through and to get themselves into the knockouts, even though they were 3-0 losers this evening, getting themselves into a knockout position was certainly a positive and a massive objective for that club this season. So already this evening, as I said, half-time in Turin between Juventus and PSV in that first leg. Weston McKennie's goal is the difference between the two sides. Juventus actually had more chances before the half to add to their lead, but PSV holding on in there. The visitors started the better of the two teams in that one, but haven't been able to find the net. Manchester City, as I said, won up against Madrid as we watched here at the Etihad, and it's still goalless in that game in Lisbon this evening between Sporting and Dortmund. Goalless between those two sides. Very well matched, those two sides, the Portuguese side and the German side. At the moment, sharing a goalless draw. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Nottingham Forest of the Premier League currently leading Exeter by 2-1. The League One side keeping Forest honest with an opening goal through Josh McGuinness, but Ramon Sosa and Taiwo Awoniyi with the 2 goals for Forest have them leading by 2-1 at half-time in that FA Cup 4th round tie. Coventry in the Championship take on QPR. It's goalless between those two teams at the break. Derby and Oxford also sharing a 0-0 scoreline. These are in the second half, by the way. Portsmouth 2-1 up against Cardiff, and Leeds making easy work of Watford in that one. They're 3-0 up in the second half in that one, and the Championship League leaders are comfortably ahead. At half-time at Carrow Road, it is Norwich 0, Preston North End 1 at this moment in time. And in the Irish Premiership, it is Linfield 0, Larne 0. Larne down to 10 men after their main striker was sent off in that first half, and the league leaders in the Irish League are having the man advantage, but still goalless in that one. Right, that's your up-to-date from everywhere else. So far, we will recap and round up that first half as well. Very shortly, we'll analyse how Manchester City have their lead and what went wrong for Real Madrid in that first half. We'll be back in a minute. Do stay with us. welcome back to Champions League Live. Let's recap that first half then at the Etihad, where Manchester City lead the reigning European champions by a 1-0 at the Etihad Stadium in this knockout playoff first leg. And really, to be honest, it was a chaotic, very open, very end-to-end start in the first 15 minutes of the game. And that's kind of, as I said, where Real Madrid had chances before and after Manchester City scored. They actually had the better of the chances early in the game, where they were getting joy when City were a bit sloppy on the ball, they were a bit loose, giving away cheap passes, and I think that's where Real Madrid tried to use their attack to really press and close City down, and then take them on the transition, on the break, and that's where they were trying to find joy. But as soon as Manchester City settled, almost instantly, as they settled and became a bit more composed in possession, and got much more settled in their passing lanes and their rhythm and their momentum and all that, they put together a beautifully worked goal down the left-hand side. Fabulous football. I mean, Vardy plays it into Haaland. Haaland gives it out to Grealish. Grealish gives it back to Vardy, who makes a run. Lovely chip ball over the top. And then Vardy chests it down for Haaland to take on the narrow angle. Beautiful strike on the volley, kind of chested down by Vardy, and then Haaland just kind of used his right foot to guide it into the far corner. It was a really nicely worked goal. But as I said, Real Madrid had chances before and after Manchester City scored, and I think when City kind of took the lead, and I think they kind of grew into the game, and that goal certainly gave them confidence, and for a good 10-15 minute spell after they'd scored, I think City looked more likely to get the next goal. But I think towards the end of the first half, Real Madrid kind of gained a little bit more confidence. They actually grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, Real Madrid, and said, we're going to try and take some control back. And to an extent they kind of did, because they reminded Manchester City of the threat that they can pose with the quality players. I'm sure Manchester City didn't forget that, but I would argue that maybe City got, not complacent, but they got settled in the game, where they were kind of a little bit standoffish at times against Real Madrid when they did get into positions. And I think when Real Madrid kind of rode that little storm that Manchester City kind of gave them in the middle part of that half, they then had a few chances themselves. I mean, I don't think there's been enough seen from the Real Madrid attackers tonight. I think Rodrigo, Mbappe and Bellingham really have been a little bit quiet until those last few minutes of the first half. Vinicius Junior's looked the most threatening of the Real Madrid forwards as to this point, but again, there's no doubting the fact they've had a couple of chances. I mean, Vinicius Junior hit the bar, a couple of good saves from Edison as well, and then that chance from Kylian Mbappe that was, I mean, it's just a beautifully threaded through ball. It's just a fabulous little ball round the corner for Mbappe in the box, and he's in a position where he's been in for the last number of years, where he's taken those chances inside the 18-yard box, around about the kind of area of the penalty spot, in and around that area. Lots of space, a gaping hole in City's defence where they really didn't press and didn't get man-to-man with Mbappe. He found the space and he just had the shot. He had loads of time, lots of space, the perfect opportunity, and he just skied it over the bar. And I mention it as it happened. Is that a chance that Real Madrid are going to rue come the crucial points of this tie, where they're going to need something to try and get them out of trouble? Is there that lack of clinical edge in this Real Madrid forward line, where when they have a big chance, do they have the kind of composure and clinical edge really to put it away and put Manchester City on the back foot? That's where maybe they have lacked in that first half. But I think they've certainly had a few chances and probably could have had a goal in that first half. But so far, it is City that lead, and you would argue probably deservedly so, with the way that they have played. But again, I do think it's still very close, and I do think this tie is far from over. You know, there's still another half to go tonight, and then another full 90 minutes to go in Madrid next week. So there's a long way to go before anything is decided, and we will see what that means. Right, second half of the Etihad on the way next.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They
go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine.
Welcome back. Second half on the way from the Etihad very shortly, but let's remind you what's to come in the Champions League over the next few weeks. Bayern take on Celtic. That's our game next Tuesday in the Allianz Arena in Munich. That's next Tuesday. We'll see those two meet tomorrow night at Celtic Park, and we will have the second leg for you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock on LFS. Then next Friday, we will have the draw for the round of 16 quarterfinal and semi-final of this competition. And the round of 16 takes place in the midweek, so the 4th and 5th and the 11th and 12th of March. So a number of weeks away. That will be 3 weeks to the day that we start the round of 16, and of course we see the big guns that have already booked their place, a couple of English sides, the other 3 English sides that started this competition this season, Liverpool, Arsenal and Aston Villa all booked their places. The other Madrid side, of course, Atletico, also booked their place into the round of 16 automatically as a seeded side, so we'll have the draw for you in 10 days time, but we have to find out who the 8 teams that will progress will be. And we're halfway through the first leg here at the Etihad, and Manchester City do have the lead, but there is still a long way to go in the tie. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That will be so greatly appreciated, and we thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight for this Champions League game here at the Etihad. Looking forward to the second half to see what it has in store for us. What story will it have for us to write ahead of next Wednesday's second leg? Of course, one of the last 2 winners of this competition won't be in the final 16. Of course, City, the 2023 winners. Real Madrid, of course, last season's winners, winning it at Wembley against Borussia Dortmund. And they actually knocked City out in the way to winning this competition for the 15th time last season. Rico Lewis is going to be coming on here for Manchester City. So they made a change in the first half, saying Phil Foden come on to replace Jack Grealish. And now Rico Lewis is coming on here at half-time. So that will be City's second substitution. Of course, this won't go to their 3 substitution window. They will still have 2 substitution windows to make 3 subs left in the second half. So Rico Lewis is on the field. No changes for Madrid at the break as we get underway for another 45 minutes here tonight at the Etihad in this knockout playoffs of the Champions League. It was quite a shock to see these 2 sides at this stage of the competition, but with 2 really underwhelming league phase showings, that's why they're here this evening. De Bruyne, lovely through ball. Erling Haaland in the box. Haaland off the crossbar. Back down again. Haaland trying to control it in the box, and Valverde will deal with that one. I think the flag's gone up anyway. Erling Haaland there. It was good pressure by Foden. Bricks it off the left-hand side. Plays it to De Bruyne. Threads it through for Haaland. He takes it onto his left. Strikes. Takes a deflection of Camavinga, and it blasts on the crossbar and back out, and then the offside flag went up. But that's a chance. Both sides have hit the woodwork tonight. That was Erling Haaland hitting the crossbar. He's already found the back of the net this evening, the Norwegian. His 7th Champions League goal of the campaign. There are a few players, by the way, if they get booked tonight, they will miss the second leg of this tie. 3 for Real Madrid that started the game, and just the 1 in the whole Manchester City squad. Brahim Diaz, if he is booked tonight, will miss the second leg due to a suspension. Real Madrid will miss Jude Bellingham, Eduardo Camavinga, or Aurelien Tchouameni if they are to be booked, and Luka Modric or Endrick if they are to come on and be booked this evening. One of those players will miss the second leg. And So will Carlo Ancelotti. If he gets a booking tonight, Ancelotti, he will not be on the sidelines for the second leg. He will be in the stands at the Bernabeu next Wednesday, which is very interesting. Imagine that. I mean, it could happen. As Rico Lewis takes this throw in. I didn't mention, by the way, Manuel Akanji was the player that went off for Manchester City, so there was a hint of possible injury for Akanji in that first half, and looked like a groin issue, and obviously has been taken out of the game. And Rico Lewis in his position at right back at the moment. Asencio. Back to Courtois. Not in a hurry. Thibaut Courtois as he goes long up the fields. Diaz and Stones finding Vardiol now. Rodrigo has it back for Madrid. Valverde. Tchouaméni. Cross to Asencio. Ceballos. Looking for the switch ball, Dani Ceballos. Bit short. Well spotted by Savinho. Tracking it back all the way to his goalkeeper. Looking for that switch ball to Rodrigo was Ceballos. Just slightly underhit. That was really good tracking by Savinho to get back. Edison swings it out to the left side. Bernardo Silva. Stones just nicks it away from Camavinga. And Vardiol plays it on to De Bruyne now. Down the right comes Foden. Up against Mendy. Chops onto his left. Foden lays it off to Vardiol. Another deflection from the shots. We'll see another Manchester City corner. Again, it was really nice play, and it all combines. We don't see this very much from Manchester City recently due to the fact they don't have an out-and-out number 6 that is really adept at that role. But the little flick by John Stones to take it away from Camavinga beats the Real Madrid press, and it just opens up that midfield for Manchester City to roam through. Just that little touch makes such a difference. Foden with the delivery all the way through. Cleared away by Mbappe at the edge of the box there. That's what City have been missing. That option. That body in the middle of that midfield that can really conduct things, change the game by little touches, little flicks, nice through balls. That's where they've been lacking this season. But also quality and pace in midfield has been an issue for City this season. You know, sometimes they haven't had the legs to really keep up with the opponent, who a lot of teams have a lot of very physical midfields, and Manchester City, no discredit to the midfield that they have, but a few of them have kind of got over the hill in that sense. They're on the other side of the hill, on the downslope, in terms of their physicality. Again, not to discredit them, just been what you've kind of analysed this season, and the lack of quality at times in those areas, just to keep the attack going and sustain the moves. So far tonight, John Stones has been quite fantastic at that role, just linking things up. Here is Vardiol. Back to Nathan Ake. To Diaz now. De Bruyne looking for Haaland. Tchouaméni had it covered. And that was good work from Bellingham. Chops back infield against De Bruyne. Bellingham has to give it back to Aurelien Tchouaméni. Bellingham again. Right wide on the right hand side here. Rodrigo now. Bellingham looking for that overlapping run of Fede Valverde. Valverde. Down the right side. Lays it off infield to Mbappe. Rolls it back to Camavinga. Back out wide to Valverde. Lovely from Madrid. Camavinga now. Good work from Ceballos. Lays it off to Vinicius Jr. Mendy on the overlap of Vinicius Jr. And the cross and the header by Bellingham is wide. Again, Vinicius Jr. had that overlapping chance. Took his man on. Again, we'll see it again. Ceballos rolls it through to Vinicius Jr. And you think he's just going to take the overlap. He takes his man Rico Lewis on. Chops it back from the byline. Right onto the head of Jude Bellingham. And his header just behind him. And he just has to stretch for it. And he just narrowly heads it wide. Good chance, good opportunity. Another goal in Turin to tell you about so far. And Juventus took the lead. They no longer lead. PSV have got their equaliser. Ivan Perisic with the leveller for the visitors there. PSV Eindhoven, who are battling back. And it is 1-1 in Turin. Bellingham trying to chip it over the top. Too far. And Ake can recover. Long kick, that one from Edison. Put Valverde under pressure, dealt with it. And Camavinga there just clipped by Bernardo Silva. Will get Real Madrid the free kick. Well, speaking of fighting back, Exeter City of League One haven't given up against the Premier League top performers Nottingham Forest. It is 2-2 in that one. Wow, great FA Cup tie. As Mbappe, off the right comes Rodrigo now, into the box. Dribbles it past Vardiol. Rodrigo cuts it back, Mbappe! Well saved by Edison. Again, those cutbacks from the byline. A little bit of a problem for Manchester City now. Madrid, they've got their tails up. Rodrigo. Bellingham now. Out to the left is Vinicius Jr. Again up against Lewis. Ticks on his man. Dribbles on the outside. Cut back from the byline. Blocked by Diaz. Will be a a Real Madrid corner, sorry. Again, it's really nice work from the wingers. Rodrigo getting to the byline and he cuts it back for Mbappe on the edge of the 6-yard box. Hits it first time. And a good scrambling save by Edison to his left. Good save. And then the follow-up, Vinicius Jr. tried to cut back and gets a corner. Taken short. Here is Mbappe. Lifts it in. Up in the air by Stones. Still alive. Bubbling down as Bellingham will just head it back to Tchouaméni and recycle the ball here for Real Madrid. Much better on the ball. And certainly getting their wide players much more involved here, Real Madrid, at the start of this second half. I said we really hadn't seen enough of the forwards of Madrid so far. Certainly seen a lot more of them in the first 10 minutes of this second half. Much more of a threat going forward. Are the visitors. Tchouaméni. Ceballos down the left side. Rodrigo was down that side. He linking up with Ceballos. Here is Rodrigo. Camavinga got a bit complacent there. Just about keeps the ball. Goes for the long switch. Beautiful first touch by Mbappe. And in the end wins a throw-in off Rico Lewis. Does the French captain. We know Real Madrid are warriors. They fight to the very death, even when it looks impossible for them to do so. And come back in games of football in this competition, they always seem to find a way. But tonight it's not about that. It's about keeping themselves in the tie going into next week. That's a lovely flick by Rodrigo. And Mbappe on the move. Kylian Mbappe in behind. Great challenge by Vardiol. Kind of stops him in his tracks, but it keeps Madrid on the attack. Valverde. Mbappe on the right now. Chops onto his left. Driving inside. Lays it off for Bellingham. Rolls it through. Rodrigo. Now Vinicius Jr. Dribbling his way through. Great block by Rico Lewis. And clears it away. But Madrid on the move again. And there's going to be a stoppage here. There's much more energy, intensity about Real Madrid's play at the moment. I mean, it's a great challenge by Vardiol. Just kind of stifles the attack of Kylian Mbappe. A fabulously timed challenge. And then Rico Lewis did the same up the other end. But certainly those wide areas looking so much more threatening from Real Madrid's point of view. And so much more vulnerable for Manchester City's at this stage. That's a nice ball by Foden though. Vardiol. Ebbing and flowing. De Bruyne. Lots of space here. Kevin De Bruyne through to Haaland. Couldn't really get the shot off as the narrow angle caught him out. Cuts it round to Savinho now. Vardiol. Not given the space. Camavinga chops on it and steals it away. Now Rodrigo. Looking for options. Looking for runners. Lays it off to Vinicius Jr. on the right side now. A lot more fluidity about Real Madrid's play at the moment. Ceballos picking up the pieces. And is going to get a free kick. As he strode forward there and was caught by Bernardo Silva. And Dani Ceballos wins Real Madrid a free kick there in a decent area. He kind of overstepped his mark. And it was a good challenge by Bernardo Silva, to be honest. Maybe a bit unfortunate there. The Portuguese at goal in Lisbon. And Borussia Dortmund have taken the lead there in that one. Serge Girassi with the goal has the German side in front. His 10th Champions League goal of the season. Quite remarkable what he's doing at the moment. Girassi and Borussia Dortmund 1-0 up. So goal in every game tonight so far, as Real Madrid get ready to try and find a goal themselves from a decent set piece opportunity. And about the edge of the, well, not on the edge of the box, about 24 yards out, 25 yards out. Here, slightly to the right hand side of goal. There's a couple of players in conversation. Ceballos, who won the free kick, is standing there. I think Valverde is another one. The shot taken by Valverde, well closed down. Ceballos will chip it over the top. Mbappe! And into the net it goes. And the flag stays down and Kylian Mbappe's levelled the game. How anticlimactic did that look? But Kylian Mbappe, who missed a chance in the first half, takes his chance in the second. And from the second phase of the set piece, Real Madrid have their leveller. Kylian Mbappe gets them back on level terms. It seemed anticlimactic as anything. The free kick taken, well charged down from Valverde, and then it comes right back out to Ceballos. Perfectly timed run by Mbappe. And as he takes it on the volley, see it again. Takes it on the volley, kind of shanks it off his shin. And it bobbles over the line, completely wrong foots Edison. It just looked a bit awkward. It looked like it didn't look right. But it was right. And Kylian Mbappe has it. Real Madrid's opening goal of the night. And the equalising goal. 1-1. How strange did that look? My goodness me. 1-1. It's certainly not. If we to compare the two goals, in terms of quality, Manchester City's goal was better. But in terms of absolute memeability, that Real Madrid goal, they're all laughing about it because it's so ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't matter. They all find the way back. They all find the back of the net, and that's all that counts at the end of the day. They all count. And Kylian Mbappe certainly won't want it in his highlights reel, but it'll certainly go in the bloopers reel in that sense. But they all stand and they all count. Madrid, who started the better of the second half, have their leveller. But City want to bounce back and want to respond quickly. Little ball into the box. Too high. And caught by Thibaut Courtois. Expected this game to stay tight. Expected Real Madrid to have chances and to create chances and to really show much more in the final third. And so they have in the first 15 minutes of this second half. As Lois Roman says we need one more. I'm guessing you're talking about Real Madrid. because they've just scored, but correct me if I'm wrong. Well, certainly PSG had their way with Brest earlier this evening, but at the moment, no side tonight in these later games are having a real clean sweep and having a comfortable ride this evening. They're all pretty topsy-turvy, up and down games. Very well matched fixtures at this moment in time. That's a lovely through ball, just a bit short to Vinny Jr. Although this is nice play. Here is Mbappe. Madrid on the move again. Mbappe trying to go for the outside of the right boot. Valverde! Oh, just wide. Goodness me. That was another chance. Again, good break down the left side. A couple of bodies in orange down that side. About 3 players. Played it through to Mbappe. He tries to go for the little audacious one across to find Rodrigo in the box. It kind of bobbles its way to the back post. And Fede Valverde charging onto the ball. And he almost sneaks it in that far corner. And it just goes wide. Drilled wide by Valverde, but ever so close. Ever so close. Lord says, yeah, Real Madrid. Indeed, indeed. Well, look. At the stage that it is, a draw out of this first leg would certainly not be a bad result for Real Madrid. They still have work to do, though, to try and battle towards that result. Still a lot of time for this to change again. As Vardiol's deflected effort. The deflected cross, by the way, did fall down to Ferland Mendy. It looked like it was heading towards Haaland's path there for a second. As Bellingham strides away from Kovacic. But it will be a throw-in for Real Madrid. By the way, Mateo Kovacic did come on just after Real Madrid scored. He had replaced Nathan Ake. So that's the 3rd substitution Man City have made. So they have now 1 more opportunity to make 2 more substitutions. Real Madrid haven't made a substitution yet in the game. 64.5 minutes gone. That's a beautiful switch ball, but the touch from Mbappe was well blocked by John Stones, who has dropped into centre back. Kovacic over the top looking for Haaland, but well caught by Courtois, who was alert. Spotted that run. Well, before we leave you tonight, we will show you what way the bracket might turn out. Of course, because we won't know what really the bracket means and what it's all about until next Friday, because we don't know what teams will be drawn where. But we know potential opponents for the teams that we watch tonight. We do know that. And we'll tell you about that in a moment, because there's been another goal, this time in Lisbon. Well, there's only one side that hasn't scored tonight. Well, they haven't scored yet. It is still Sporting who do not find the net, but it is Dortmund who double their lead this evening. Borussia Dortmund through Pascal Gross, his first goal of the Champions League in his career. And Dortmund are 2 goals to the good. As here's Real Madrid. Oh, Bellingham with a chance. Just missed that as I was updating you on the Dortmund game, and now City want a break. That's well covered over by Valverde. Again, that was another moment for Real Madrid. Just quality all round. Camavinga, nice 1-2 with Valverde. Here is Eduardo Camavinga looking to switch it to Vinicius Jr. Takes it down well, holds off the challenger Rico Lewis and swings it in behind. The flag stayed down again. Mbappe's through again. Kylian Mbappe hits the post and wide. The flag was going up anyway. It looked like he was offside. I mean, he saved his blushes, the fact that the flag did go up, because if it hadn't have went up, that was another big chance that he had let go wide. Again, he angles himself up for it, but he just kind of sets himself too wide, and again, I'm sure he'd be pretty happy that the flag went up and the fact that the shot wasn't going to find the net anyway. Soccer Nerd says, let's go Real. Sam says, let's go Real Madrid. Damn, that was close though. Mbappe will get another one, says Sam as well. Well, he's certainly having the chances at the moment. Missed one in the first half, took his goal to give Real Madrid an equaliser, and had another one there, but that was offside. So is certainly creating them. I'm seeing a lot more of the Real Madrid attacking line in this second half. They look a lot more fluid in the attack. They were a bit snappy and a bit snatchy with it in the first half, where they're a lot more controlled and composed as they come forward in this second 45 so far. We're 3/4 of the way through the game, so a quarter of the game to go, and we are level here at the Etihad. Remember, second leg to come in 8 days' time at the Bernabeu in Madrid. So Real Madrid will have the second leg at home. Here is Phil Foden, driving off the right-hand side, beating challenges as he goes through. Plays it now to Savinho, looking for the cross. Well, charged down by Fede Valverde, and it will go behind for a Manchester City corner. Again, it was a good run by Phil Foden. You expected him to maybe either take the strike or try and thread it through into the box, but he switched it out wide to Savinho. Ended up winning the corner out of the situation, of which Kevin De Bruyne will deliver. Right-footed, fizzed one, but up in the air comes Courtois and easily gathers. Another quick update from around the grounds. Juventus 1, PSV 1, Sporting 0, Dortmund 2. In the Champions League and the FA Cup, it's Exeter 2, Forest 2. Remember, if that game's level after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties will decide a winner, as the League One side holding the Premier League high flyers, Forest, at the moment. In the Championship, Coventry still 0-0 with QPR. Derby at Oxford still scoreless. Portsmouth still leading Cardiff by 2-1. Leeds have furthered their lead even further, now 4-0 up away at Watford, and Preston still 1-0 up away at Norwich. When we talked about Manchester City against Spanish clubs, let's talk about Real Madrid against English clubs. And there's been a lot more of those meetings over the years. If we combine it, I have to do a bit of quick maths here at the moment, if I can figure it out. Bear with me. 58 meetings against English clubs in the Champions League. That's sensational. That's mental. 58 meetings against English clubs. They've won 24 of those 58 meetings, drawn 16 and lost 18 at Real Madrid. But away record against English clubs, they haven't done particularly well in that. In 26 away meetings, they have won 9, drawn 6, lost 11. As City come forward, Lewis tried to find it across, well blocked behind for the corner. But 11 defeats in 26 away games against English opposition in the Champions League. And they've already lost on English soil this season, of course, when they faced Liverpool in the league phase on match day 5. They lost 2-0 on that occasion. And they were without an away win in 5 games against English clubs before a 3-1 first leg victory at Chelsea in the 21-22 quarter-finals, but now have won 3 of their last 7 away games in England, drawn 1 and lost the other 3. Of course, that draw came here in the quarter-finals last year. They drew both legs in the quarter-finals against City last year. 3-3 in Spain and 1-1 here, 1 on penalties. Here's Camavinga breaking into the box. Shot well charged down. Maybe a bit loose with that one because a bit of covering work to do, as Haaland was battling in there and had 3 Real Madrid players around him. He will get the free kick out of it. Well, Erling Haaland. Again, if Manchester City take the lead again, settles them a little bit more, but no, they've still a lot of work to do going to Madrid next week. But if Real Madrid score the next goal, then it certainly really will start worrying the Manchester City fans, because of course they have to go to Madrid in 8 days' time, and it's not an easy place to go. is the Bernabeu, even at the best of times. Real Madrid have lost just one league game at home this season. 9 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat in their 11 home league games. Only Atletico Madrid, who are unbeaten at home, have a better home record than Real Madrid this season in the La Liga. Manchester City, no strangers to good results on home soil, albeit they've lost 2 of their 11 home games in the Premier League this season. Won 7, drawn 2, lost 2. So not as efficient as Real Madrid, but still up there. There's only 3 teams that are better off than City at home, and those are the 3 teams that are currently 3 of the 4 teams that are currently above them in the league. Arsenal, Liverpool and Forest all have better home records than City in the Premier League this season. "17 minutes to go of normal time. 1-1. Still this tie hangs in the balance. That's what we want to see. That's what you want. You don't want either side taking a real massive scoreline into next week, because at that point it's basically just defending you're through, really. But tonight, keeping it close, keeping it tight, just keeps it tasty going to Madrid next week. Keeps the pressure on both teams, you know. They do have to perform. Well, including the 21-22 final, this is the 10th time that Real Madrid have been paired with English opponents in their last 14 Champions League knockout ties, and the 8th in their last 11 knockout ties. And of course the 21-22 final was against Liverpool, which they won the title for the 14th time on that occasion. And then of course won their 15th title last summer. Referees just stopped the game for the moment. Something going on off the ball with Raul Asencio and Erling Haaland. So whatever that's about, the referee's going to have a conversation with both players. It's time to remind you what's to come tomorrow. The Merseyside Derby, the final Merseyside Derby at Goodison Park, is tomorrow as league leaders Liverpool look to increase their gap to 9 points against second place Arsenal. That is Liverpool's game in hand, so it is a huge one tomorrow night. But Everton will be up for it after FA Cup defeat for both teams at the weekend. We will see who will bounce back the better tomorrow. A 7:30 kickoff at Goodison Park. Rico Lewis, Foden over the top trying to find Haaland. Good stretch by Aurelien Tchouameni. And that will just bobble out for a City throw on the right side. Bernardo Silva to Kovacic. Now finding Stones. Kovacic again. Calm possession from Manchester City, but this is where they got their goal tonight. So I'm just being composed and controlled on the ball, waiting for the right moment, being patient. That's what got City that goal. Kovacic through the lines, finds Lewis. Nice ball into Foden, trying to dribble his way through. It's a penalty! Referee points to the spot. Wasn't expecting that, but it is a penalty to Manchester City. Phil Foden tried to dribble his way through, and it just looked like strong defending from Real Madrid. But according to the referee Clément Turpin, it's a penalty. See it again. Is the contact outside the box? That's very close. We'll see. It's Dani Ceballos that gets in the way. He's the one that's deemed to have committed the foul. And the referee points to the spot. Well, very different reactions from both benches. There is Phil Foden is in pain. So we will wait and see what happens with Phil Foden, because there is a bit of concern here about the Englishman, who's really in pain around about his right knee. See it again. I mean, I can understand why the referee pointed the spot. It's just a late challenge by Dani Ceballos, but it's just a bit soft. I mean, I can see why the referee's given it, but in my opinion, it looks a bit soft. But worrying about the penalty, not the utmost point at the moment, because Phil Foden is sitting up, and he will be helped back to his feet. Initially, it did look a bit of a real concern for Phil Foden, and he is back on his feet and should be okay. But it will be a penalty to Manchester City, and this could be a big turning point in the tie. There's a lot of bodies in and around the penalty spot. This is a big moment. A big moment in this tie. The reigning European champions, probably the better side in the second half, got their way back, clawed their way back level, but it could all come crashing down right here, right now, if Erling Haaland can find the back of the net past Thibaut Courtois. From the penalty spot, Haaland, who's already scored tonight, gave Manchester City the lead after 19 minutes in the first half, and with just over 10 minutes to go in the game, has the chance to do it again. One of the most clinical and ruthless strikers on the planet against one of the best goalkeepers on the planet. Haaland steps up, no doubt. Manchester City back in front. Sends Courtois the wrong way and rolls it into the bottom left corner. Calmness, composure, absolutely ruthless from Erling Haaland, and Manchester City back in front, and with a chance to take a lead to Madrid next week. 2 goals on the night, and 2 very huge goals in the Champions League for Manchester City. After match day 7, their hopes of continuing in this competition look minimal. But beating Bruges on match day 8 gave them the matchup that they probably would have been hoping for later in the competition. But you have to beat the best to be the best, and the reigning European champions trailing again under the lights at the Etihad, and Erling Haaland, their destroyer, once again. City 2, Real Madrid 1, and Manchester City once again in front, and with the advantage in this knockout playoff tie. But it's not over yet. Far from over yet. So 90 minutes still to come, and still about 10 minutes to go in this one. They've come back once. Who's doubting they can do it again? I wouldn't want to be one doubting Real Madrid, I can tell you that much. There has been a substitution, by the way. So there was a substitution for Manchester City after Real Madrid scored, and Real Madrid have just made a substitution after Manchester City have scored. Luka Modric, there's no one more experienced than Luka Modric in this competition. He knows this competition like the back of his hand at this rate. And he has come on to replace the man who committed the foul for the penalty, Dani Ceballos. That's Real Madrid's first change of the night. Not really looking to his bench at the moment, Carlo Ancelotti. Looking for a bit of experience. The 39-year-old Croatian, more often than not, has been the one that they've called upon. He actually turns 40 in September. It's a long way away, but some feat to be at the top of European football at such a fine age. Yeah, it's just clumsy from Dani Ceballos. I mean, I can see where the referee's given it. It is just a bit clumsy, but from my opinion, I think you need to have more than that for a penalty, but that's the referee's decision. You can't argue with it. VAR certainly didn't. There was no clear and obvious error, or whatever the kind of phrase they use in European football is, but Dani Ceballos felt hard done by and got substituted right after, which maybe shows Carlo Ancelotti doesn't believe that his player was right there, and he does believe they made a mistake. What could that be? A costly mistake for Real Madrid. No one has a foul actually in the midfield there on Eduardo Camavinga. So free kick to Real Madrid. As Man City ready some changes, some strength. Not often we've said that this season for Manchester City when bringing strength and depth off the bench with their couple of injuries they've had, but Kevin De Bruyne is going to be replaced, so Ruben Diaz will take the armband off the City captain. So De Bruyne is coming off, and Savinho is also coming off, and replacing those two. There's goals going around the grounds. We'll get to those in a moment. Replacing those two will be İlkay Gündoğan and Omar Marmoush. So a double substitution there for Manchester City. Right, goals to tell you about. Juventus in Turin are back in front against PSV Eindhoven. Samuel Mbangula with the goal with 8 minutes to go there has Juventus back in front, and it looks like Borussia Dortmund are taking real control of that tie in Lisbon this evening, because they just added a third. Karim Aziemi adding a third for Dortmund. As they head back to the Signal Iduna Park next week, they will have at least a 3-goal lead to take into that one, and we'll see if they can wrap up the tie next week. So a bit of daylight for a couple of teams now. City leading, Juventus leading. They will both take, as it stands, they will both take leads into their second legs, and Borussia Dortmund will be heading back to Dortmund at the moment with a 3-goal lead. It's Camavinga trying to feed it forward, flicked on by Bellingham out wide to Vinicius Jr. They haven't given up yet though, Real Madrid. Never do. Vinicius Jr. there. First challenge by Foden, the second by Rico Lewis, and it puts it out for a throw into Real Madrid on the left side. Taken quickly by Modric. Nice touch by Mbappe round the corner for Bellingham. Rolls it on now to Brahim Diaz, who's just on the field. Valverde through to Diaz again. Brahim Diaz back to Fede Valverde. Whip ball in by Tchouaméni, but too close to Edison, who will comfortably gather. It's all about Manchester City managing this game to the end now. Said a positive result for Real Madrid would be keeping themselves in the tie going into next week. Manchester City's form away from home in the Champions League has left a lot to be desired recently. If we're to really take it into consideration, and we'll hold on a moment because here come Real Madrid again. Diaz through the lines, Vinicius Jr. blocked up, and the follow-up is in! And they're back level again. Brahim Diaz off the bench to get Real Madrid a second, and certainly get them a positive result if this ends like this. Swings and roundabouts in the Champions League. City take the lead, Real Madrid respond, they take the lead again, and Real Madrid respond again. And it's Brahim Diaz on the field about 2.5 minutes, and he's already got his goal that gets Real Madrid back on terms again. Really good play through the lines, down the right hand side. Vinicius Jr. has the shot first, palmed away, kind of chested away by Edison, right into the path of Brahim Diaz, not picked up by any of the Manchester City defenders. Really poor covering and defending in their own box, and he takes it first time. Kind of bobbles up into the air and into the far corner. Really nicely worked goal. 2-2. I said this game wasn't over yet, and I said never doubt Real Madrid. And they give us some classics. They always do in the Champions League. And they're giving us another one here at the Etihad. City 2, Real Madrid 2. Wow. Well, I gotta be honest. It's not been a game where either team deserved to probably win it. If I'm truly honest with you. A draw would be a very fair result. But sometimes you don't get what you deserve in football. Here's Foden into the box. City want to bounce back again. And the header from Modric was caught by Thibaut Courtois. Pretty comfortable from the two veterans there. Well, despite the fact that Real Madrid have had more shots, more chances, and the higher XG, Manchester City have looked much more controlled defensively at times. I think after that equaliser from Real Madrid, they had a little 5-10 minute spell after that, but then Manchester City came into their own in the build-up to that penalty. And then after that, Real Madrid responded again, so both kind of reacting well to conceding tonight. That's why I talk about it. It's a topsy-turvy game. A very well-matched tie between two teams. Not at the peak of their powers at European football. There's no doubt about that at this minute in time. Real Madrid with a lot of defensive issues. Manchester City certainly not in their rhythm as they give the ball away there cheaply. John Stones and Bellingham trying to break in. Brought down. No foul, says the referee. Told to get up. Jude Bellingham by the referee, and that completely baffles the Englishman. As we've just over a minute of the 90 to go. Is there a winner in this one? And Sam says, this is freaking wild. You called it. I did. I said, never rule out Real Madrid. You think Real Madrid can get another one? Well, I don't know way this game's going to go now. 2-2. Either team could win it. But I think Real Madrid would certainly take a draw. No doubt about it. Just needing to win next week. If they get any sort of win against Man City, if they take this draw, any sort of win would see them through to the round of 16, but never count your chickens. Too early in this competition. Nothing's done and dusted until the final whistle blows, and both these teams will know that more than anyone else. Because they've been on the end of late goals that have helped them, but also on the end of late goals that have certainly hampered them as well. As we'll have 3 added minutes at the end of the 90, so not much time to go. It's Marmouche linking up with Gundogan. Rolled it through, but Valverde, just about dealt with there by Camavinga. Valverde almost sent Camavinga into a really difficult position there in his own box, and Real Madrid get the throw in there. Really nice work down the right side. See that again, Bellingham covering over against Bernardo Silva. He tried to get through. He wanted that foul a bit earlier on. I mean, I get what Jude Bellingham's saying, but at the same time, I mean, the ball wasn't there to be won, so really both players were not really getting anything out of that. It's just a bit unnecessary to make that claim. You can't blame him. As Kylian Mbappe is going to be leaving the field, and we just see a replay of his goal. I have to say, there's no goal that's kind of shocked me more than that goal because of how bizarre it was. I mean, it was the shank of all shanks, really, from Kylian Mbappe. And Fran Garcia has come on to replace him. Certainly a unit of a player. Certainly top heavy, anyway. Using his physicality might get something here. Bellingham with a flick-on header. Well, stopped by Kovacic, but Vinicius Jr. nips it away from Lewis. Vinicius Jr. chips Edison off target, but it will be followed in. And Real Madrid might have just upset Manchester City at the Etihad. From the claws of defeat, Real Madrid once again end up with a possible victory on the road. Manchester City unbeaten in 9 games at home in the Champions League. That could be coming an end to the European champions. And it will be Jude Bellingham that will be credited with that goal. And it has absolutely silenced the Etihad. Comeback kings in this competition strike again. See this. A very weird pass by Kovacic back to Lewis. Rico Lewis overextends. He gets beaten to it by Vinicius Jr. Just takes it over the top of him. Edison comes flying out. He was never getting to the ball. Just chipped over the top of him by Vinicius Jr. Dinks it past him. Edison left scrambling, not getting anywhere near it. And Jude Bellingham was there to follow it in. And the Englishman seems to have won it for the Spanish side in England. Not a happy hunting ground for Real Madrid over the years on English soil. But tonight, it may just be a fabulous victory for the Madridistas to celebrate. Because there it is. The 3 minutes are up. And Carlo Ancelotti's masterminding Pep Guardiola's City again. They knocked Manchester City out in the quarter-finals last year en route to lifting number 15 in this competition. And they now have a lead to take back to Madrid with them against Manchester City. City just scraped their way through to this stage. And they might need to do a pretty good rescue job in 8 days' time if they're going to keep their place in this competition. Never, ever doubt Real Madrid in the Champions League. With 9 minutes to go, they were 2-1 down, looked down and out, looked like they were just trying to rescue anything out of the game and keep themselves in the tie after Erling Haaland converted that penalty. But the equaliser soon after from substitute Brahim Diaz, who was on the pitch barely 2 minutes, finding Madrid their leveller for the second time tonight. But the winner was to be found when Jude Bellingham followed in from Vinicius Jr.'s dink over the Manchester City goalkeeper. Once again, it is joy in Manchester for Real Madrid, and the reigning European champions will take a lead back to their home turf in 8 days' time. Final score in the knockout playoff first leg between Manchester City and Real Madrid. It is finished. City 2, Madrid 3. What a cracking finish to the Champions League knockout playoff first legs this evening. It's been a night of great action, but nothing beats Manchester City against Real Madrid in this competition in recent years. And once again, we've seen another great game that comes to a very expected but great end for Real Madrid. But shock for Manchester City, who were leading with 9 minutes to go, and they end up losing once again. Similar kind of to that PSG defeat a few weeks ago. Right, recapping tonight's scores. PSG made it easy work of Brest in that old French tie as they beat Brest by 3-0 to take into the second leg. Juventus did find their way back in that game. They led, then they were pegged back by PSV, but they led again and take the lead to Eindhoven next week. PSV having a comeback job for them to do. It looked like, late into the second half, that Manchester City were going to be taking a lead to Madrid, but it's actually swung the completely opposite direction. It's Real Madrid who will be taking that lead back to the Bernabeu next week for them, and as will Borussia Dortmund. They will take a 3-goal lead against Sporting into the second leg in Dortmund next week. Tomorrow night, we will be keeping an eye on those games, but we will have a Premier League coverage of the last ever Goodison Merseyside derby tomorrow evening between Everton and Liverpool. That's a 7:30 kickoff, but we will also keep you up to date with the 4 Champions League games to watch as Club Brugge take on Atalanta, Benfica head to Monaco, Celtic and Bayern Munich, the game of the round tomorrow night, and Feyenoord host AC Milan. That is it from us tonight. A reminder of that game between Everton and Liverpool tomorrow, 7:30. So a little earlier than usual. We will be live for that one. As the Premier League leaders look to go one step further and one step further ahead of Arsenal as they look to make it 9 points the gap at the top of the Premier League table. And it's their game in hand, so it means even more. Also, we will bring you next Tuesday, the second leg between Bayern and Celtic. That's next Tuesday evening. Also, next Friday, the round of 16 quarterfinal and semi-final draws next Friday, the 21st of February. And the round of 16 gets underway the 4th and 5th and the 11th and 12th of March. Until next week, where we will see what all of the second legs look like and where everybody will be going and who will be looking to book their place in the round of 16 out of these 16 teams. 8 places up for grabs. And we'll see who will get them next week. Next Tuesday, join us for that. But for tonight, it's been a great night of Champions League action. And Madrid, once again, from defeat, from the jaws of defeat, they find victory once again. Real Madrid, absolutely inevitable in the Champions League. Night night.